Yo, welcome back to another Sing Zone podcast. Give me just a second while I fix some things. Oh my gosh. It's got so much junk over here. Oh man. Hope you guys are doing well. Check in. You'll let me know down below who, who has arrived. I'm not expecting too many people, just to be completely honest. Um, this is going to be the Boruto, might be a part two, I don't know. Boruto abilities update post time skip. You guys know what time it is. Uh, Zone fanfic, and you guys are my travelers traveling. Don't ask. Don't even ask. Um, yeah, today. I guess it's just one of those days I got a little extra time. Don't you know just don't please don't expect this to be a consistent thing. It's just one of those days I have a little extra time. Still on the current schedule. This week was just a little bit more efficient as far as taking care of personal business, and thought we should stream. I know I did a Boruto, somewhat like of a Boruto abilities stream on a few months back, few streams back, few Boruto segments back with I want to say it was a few other people, a few other folks. And we basically, I think it was the Boruto, the dark, Boruto's Dark End video, 1 and 2, if I remember correctly. Um, and yeah, yo, we're gonna talk about it. There's so many prediction videos that I've been seeing just kind of floating by. I haven't really checked any of them out, just to be completely honest. But I'm sure people are, have their ideas. And I wanted to kind of just give a little update as to like what I actually believe be as a Naruto um enthusiast, Boruto or Naruto franchise enthusiast, and Boruto viewer. I thought that I should give my little take on what board what the post time skip abilities look like with the current age of Shinobi, with the next gen characters. Yeah, and I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys do. I hope you guys can hear me all right. If you guys can hear me all right, let me know because the last stream apparently is a little choppy. Um, that was earlier today, and this stream I'm hoping that it's not too bad. Let me know in the comment section if it is or isn't. I would greatly appreciate it. Um, don't really have to be moderators. They left me. Um, no, but you know, just to be completely honest, like yeah, definitely it would definitely help if you guys would assist me with that. Let me know. Oh, I was really gonna go into it too. I was gonna create like a whole script for this, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go off the script type of dude. So I feel like it's just best to kind of just go off the dome. You know what I mean? Like, explain or at least mention some of the abilities I believe Boruto may have post time skip and other characters as well. This is not exclusive to Boruto, so if you like other characters and you want to figure out what their abilities may be or what I believe would fit based off of the storyline, certain scenarios that may play out, um, what their abilities may be, let's get into it. Let's get hmm sorry guys. Trying to figure out who to start off with first. Who to start off with first? I wish I had like a dice or something. I would roll that dice. That would be a lot easier. As far as who, oh, Hopefully the video quality. Let me let me check something just a second, guys. I apologize. All right. Yeah, that should do it. That should do it. That should do it. Oh, I'm not blocking anything off. But okay, let's get into it, right? So, what I believe the Boruto abilities or the Boruto two blue vortex abilities will be. Let's start off with Mitsuki. Just off the dome, random, like we usually do, right? I foresee Mitsuki. Um, I think he's gained better control at this point. I think he's gained better control over his physical vessel. Now, there are certain people that I will refer to as a vessel in this video. One being Mitsuki, two being Code. I think they serve purposes of being a vessel primarily. Um, but that could change as things move forward. Mitsuki, I think he may have tuned into some sage like abilities that typical sages do not hone into naturally. At least from what we've seen. And we know that we have seen uh, Kabuto was a sage. Uh, Naruto, Jiraiya was a sage, right? So we have seen sages, but we have not seen sages like Mitsuki. Uh, Now, I think as far as Mitsuki goes, I think that he'll definitely have some type of yin like features, like be able to kind of tune into his senses a bit more and kind of pick up on certain things. And based off of Mitsuki, he kind of gives me Psy vibes. So, um, based off of his character, I don't think exactly he'll play. Um, he'll be too aware of this innate ability that he has. Um, and this mastery of that he's gained until possibly the end of Boruto to Blue Vortex, right? Now, as far that's what I'll say about Mitsuki. I might come back to him, but if I don't at the end of the video, just know that and we don't talk about a part two, then that's probably all I have. Um, but as far as Sarada, let's talk about Sarada. We're gonna talk about Team Seven for now, right? Sarada. Then we'll come back around with Kawaki. Kawaki's probably the person that I have the least amount of theories surrounded around, but we'll get to him as well. Sorry. You guys know if you guys were in a stream earlier today, we I don't know, I think it's the weather. It's like fires around here. But no. As far as like Sarada, right? So I was under the assumption that she would be kind of trying to hide her current awareness of her situation throughout the time skip. But I've since brought up the idea of a possible few months time skip becoming between chapters 1 and 5. If it's six, right? Call it potato, right? Um, but as far as her abilities, I definitely think that she is the yin to Ada's yang, right? Based off of some of the symbols that we've seen on the moon. If you've seen Naruto the Last, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go back to that movie, check it out, and you will see. Right? The big fight at the end, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, I definitely think there are two deities. We'll call them Chaos and Order, right? Chaos and Order. This does not include the Otsutsuki God, which I think is the primary sleeping god that doesn't really deal with many things, but he has influence, right? Um, I think that as far as Sarda goes, I think it's based off of the scenarios that took place. I'm willing to go with God Order. We'll call it God Order, right? God Order is typically conveyed as a male, and but Shonen typically switches this up. Um, God Order is typically conveyed as a male, and Chaos is conveyed as a female, right? Does that have any direct correlation with Boruto? Only time will tell. But as far as her abilities go specifically, I definitely think that if the Code War does happen, and I do believe it does, it is starting, I believe. Um, chapters 1, 2, and 3 will really give us some insight on that, right? But as far as her abilities, if the Code War does happen, the Age of Shinobi does happen, Emperor Kawaki does happen, what I see her ability being is more of like a, and forgive me, you JJK fans out there, from not exactly getting the premise of domain expansion correct, but let's call it like a domain expansion of a sort, right? Um, more so like a domain area, right? So, um, it's I think that because this omni the range to influence what seems to be nature itself, I think Sarda will have something to directly counter that. And I think that may be some influence to one of the gods, being either chaos or order. The opposite, of course, correlating god than Ada, right? Which it's presumed that she is under Shibai's influence, right? Based off of her abilities. Now, based off of with Sarada, I think that if she's to go around and remain in the village, take care of Mitsuki, like it's been foreshadowed, right? There was some conversation when when Boruto and Sarada were on a journey to go find Mitsuki, and um, if you refer back to part 1, this was in the anime, and if you refer back to part 1, you'll see that there was a part where Boruto is essentially saying like, "Hey, we've gotta trust Mitsuki. We've gotta believe in Mitsuki," and something to that extent. But I definitely see Sarada having sticking by in the village, especially as a leader, someone that wants to be in the Hokage role, and someone that wants to protect the village. I think that this is going to be her way of doing that. More of a direct approach. She's more of a direct type of leader. We see that in part 1. It only confirms what I already know, right? Um, and with some belief to be true. She's gonna remain in the village, and to do that, um, I think there's gonna be a point in time where she's going to have to do some reconnaissance, right? She's going to have to use some of her enhanced abilities, some of the um, possible training that she's done throughout the 3 years. That's 3 years worth of training for her for her MS, right? And that's not, we don't know what type of training she's done, right? Whether that was under Kakashi or under with Sarda or with Ada and Damon. We I doubt it was with Ada and Damon specifically because she's trying to hide from Ada and Damon, at least a part of herself. So, as far as her abilities go, I think she's going to be an influence or directly counter Ada's abilities, right? Um, Meaning that the people influenced by omnipotence, she's going to have something to directly counter her omnipotence ability, right? So her abilities to influence or the wish for Kawaki, right, which was done through Ada, right? Now, I think that specifically Sarado will have the ability to influence the people that's been influenced by omnipotence. within a certain area though, because we don't want it to be super OP, right? We want it to be within a certain area, within a certain range, right? And we want it to be like a very difficult thing to do, right? Um, Now maybe she'll pop her MS, and then it'll be a certain she'll pop that ability, and during that ability she'll be able to kind of control, manipulate, or at least kind of like temporarily um, have some of the people unaffected, or as if they were never affected by omnipotence, um, and then kind of have that sustain them, people that within that certain area, kind of sustain them and work with them to kind of build a um, uh, more so a coalition force, right? A rebellion against Kawaki's revolution, right? And I'm saying revolution as if Kawaki will have much difficulty doing this, although I do doubt that the other villages will um, willingly trust Kawaki under his authority. Regardless of whatever situation, there's been Otsutsuki to arrive on the planet, and the other villages aren't going to be, they're not going to be willing to just hand over authority to Ada, Damon, and Kawaki. The Leaf will. So it'll most likely be the Leaf versus everyone after the Code War, right? Um, which I talked about in my previous video today. So if you like that video, check that video out. Let me know how you feel about it. But yes, for Sarda, temporarily undo omnipotence, right? Um, what other abilities would you have, right? Um, we've seen her with Chidori. We've seen her with, um, Chanara, that attack, right? Um, we've seen her. What else have we seen her with? We've seen her do some genjutsu, right? So, um, but we get to see a user with these specific abilities. Um, I think they're going to be more so used in a more tactically purposed, and not so uh, explosive oriented, right? Now, I think I say that because I see her remaining in the village, right? Now, if she were to go off, of course, she would have to have some things kind of combat that. Um, I definitely could see her with more of like a uh, like as far as like weapons go, maybe some lightning gloves. That might actually be pretty interesting. Like if she had like lightning boxing gloves. Um, I think that kind of fits her. The reason why I say that, even though that's like not my first desire for her, is because I see her using her fist a lot, and to kind of combine the effort between her father and her mother, it would make sense if she were to kind of take, if you guys remember the third Raikage who used his fingers, right, and the less fingers he had, the faster he was. So I can definitely see her maybe utilizing some of those abilities, um, maybe even shooting like projectiles from her hands, right, while she's punching. Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. Um, and then also, I would prefer to see her with like blue fire, right, like either white or blue fire. We know, well, we have an idea at least that she's gonna have some type of Susanoo, so that's to be expected. Do I want her to have a Susanoo? I don't want her to have a Susanoo. I want her to use her Susanoo in a tactical manner. What's that? What that means exactly is there was um there was a theory where that Sasuke would have like his next mode would be a Susanoo chakra cloak, right? Or a Susanoo like body armor. Not like the big giant Susanoo thing. So I could definitely see Sarada more like a Susanoo body armor type of thing, right? Um, I think that would be, I think that would fit her character a lot more. And I honestly, if I don't really care what color it is, although I prefer it to not be pink or something retarded. Um, like bright yellow. Red would be fine, but I think they're overdoing it on the red. Um, Also, I did not mention it, but I if this time if another time skip does occur, the reason one of those another suspecting reason why I thought about the time skip is because Himawari is not, from what it looked like, she's not an official ninja yet. So if there was a few months time skip that rolled by after the Code War, that would have something there, that would be something else for her to fall back on and to really be remorseful of Boruto's attack, because you know that's how Kawaki's going to spin it. It's Boruto's attack. Um, so um, Currently Boruto's did nothing other than kill the supposedly kill Naruto, but she's never really seen any bloodshed from what I've seen. So this Code War will really give her some character, and I think we'll see it firsthand in the next few chapters. I know we didn't really. I wasn't. I'm not. You know, the purpose is not to dive too deeply into the events of the next few chapters. That was the previous video. So we'll get back into we'll go to Boruto, right? So Boruto, what is Boruto's abilities going to be like? Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, got something in my eye. Um. All right. What do I think? What do I think? What do I think Boruto's ability is going to be? So I did a plethora of abilities for him, right? Go back to my other videos, but today I'll be reintroducing um, some of those abilities, right? One of them, I don't think Boruto's stream is going to come back, or at least the way that we think is going to come back, or his use of shadow clones. Um, I think that he's really going to play. A, his sword is going to be pivotal, right? His Kenjutsu skills are going to be immaculate, right? Um, but more so, I think after the Code War, right? And I think as time goes by, I think his desire to use chakra has, I think it's diminished, right? Um, and I think that this is where we'll really see what Sasuke has actually trained him, or if Sasuke has died in the time skip and Kashin Koji took over. This is where we'll see um, some of the effects of that training as well. Oh, sorry. Um, no, yeah, we'll come back. Sorry. Um, but I definitely see him introducing the Rasengan, the fireable Rasengan through his hands. I think that some of the abilities that Momoshiki will introduce, whether that's on like spontaneous as a spontaneous thing that Boruto retains some memory of, and then starts to kind of introduce that into his mind, his skill set. I definitely think that's going to happen. Um, I think we'll see different variations of this for Sendon, whether that's compressed Rasengan, or super compressed Rasengan, or Odama super compressed Rasengan. And then you can even add in some chakra natures too. You could have Futon Rasengan, right, which is storm style, right? Or you can have all kind of things. He's got a mastered wind style Rasengan, which is it's a it's a specific type of there's let me see. I might as well look it up. Let me see. So storm style, right? Just so people don't come back and oh no, that wasn't storm style. What is storm style called in Naruto? All right. Yeah, so Gale style. Sorry. So Gale style is storm style, and futon, that's wind style, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not how you spell that. Yeah, futon is wind. All right. So I definitely think that the wind style will be making a return. If you in my previous video, I mentioned that he'll have ice and he'll have storm release. These will be some of the more uh pivotal advanced ninjutsu skills that he'll have, right? Stop. So these Kekkei Genkai, right? I think they'll definitely be a pivotal part of Boruto's character, right? I at least I hope so, right? And the reason why I suggest ice is because of Momoshiki's use of it in the novels, right? We see that in Storm Style um, is a combination of both wind, water, and well, what is? Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Let me fix my I just have the jankiest setup ever. Uh, there we go. Now it's in there. Now it's in there. It's clamped in there. All right. So storm style. Excuse me, guys. Is a combination of lightning and water release, right? We've seen lightning release from Boruto. We've also seen water release from Boruto. So a combination of all that. Um, and then wind style is a combination of water and or ice style is a combination of water and wind, right? So Boruto has all of that. Now, that is the specific thing. Those are specific. Those are Boruto's Kikkenkai, all right? Um, or excuse me, yeah, Kikkenkai. So as far as what would have, I think he'll utilize a lot of that when it pertains to his skill set, right, and his usage of ice and storm release. I think he'll use it with his sword. You guys forget when you're actually using a sword and you base chakra around it. Um, it adds power to it, right? And we haven't really seen that as much when it pertains to um, recent Boruto chapters in the fighting styles, right? But I think we'll more so see that in the time skip. And I'm looking forward to like I don't think he'll use his hands anymore when it pertains to like um Rasengans. I think that'll more so be like Naruto's trait, and then Boruto's trait I think will be the Rasengan. I think it was kind of hinted a little bit in the previous and the last Boruto versus Kawaki versus Code fight. Um I think that was where it was hinted, right? Where it all began. I think that I'm only hoping that Boruto's basis taijutsu has improved as well, as far as how he kind of utilizes some of those Hyuga moves. And then as far as the big thing that everyone's wondering, right? The Jogan. What is the Jogan going to do? Now, the Jogan has one of a few abilities, right? And one specifically, I think, either directly counters Kawaki's ability to shrink things and just negates the thing completely or the ability completely. So it has either the ability to negate, which I have talked about a lot, is just negate chakra, how it's being used. So, or shinjutsu, right? So something's influencing nature. Um, like I believe that um Kawaki's doing with his dojutsu. I think that Boruto's Jogan will be able to do will be able to do to counter that, right? Naturally, and we've seen him have precognition, right? See what's happening before it happens. If something's coming out of a portal, out of a space time portal, he's seeing that before it happens, right? He's seen chakra nature, so he has the ability to see chakra um, systems without, and then even chakra flowing, right? Whether that's negative chakra, any sort of chakra, he sees it when his Jogan is activated, right? Um, we saw that with New Age, right? And for some reason, it looks like in the New when the fight with Nue, that there was a streak of lightning and that Boruto somehow opened up a portal, right? Now, sure, I'm willing to say that there may be some type of way that he's opening a portal, right, with his Jogan. But he has the ability to open up a portal um with his karma, right? So why would he need to open up a portal with his Jogan too, right? That doesn't really serve. That serves like it's double purposed, right? And so what I think is that instance there. I think that for Boruto, what happened is like most of you have seen in my previous video, is I think that Shibai definitely has taken some influence and he is able to kind of manipulate Boruto through the personified Momoshiki, right? To a degree. Now, in that instance, if I remember correctly, Boruto didn't quite have his karma yet, so it's very possible that when Momoshiki kind of put the karma on him, it kind of acted as well. It would also make sense if the karma mode, and hear me out, if the karma mode or the karma that was placed on Boruto is in fact Shibai, then that I is the influence of the Otsutsuki god, right? He's the only one that we've seen with the Jogan, right? There was an eye shown on Shibai, but it didn't seem like the Jogan itself, right? Now, all of these it may have been a dampener for the Otsutsuki god, right? So that's what had occurred when karma was placed on Boruto. I think that there may have been some restrictions by the karma being placed on Boruto, which is why we weren't seeing Boruto utilize the Jogan as frequently. But since Boruto is now 100% Otsutsuki, and it was a mistake that he was not meant to be the one in control. It was Momoshiki that was meant to be the one in control, or at least the personified Momoshiki. I do think he has character. I do think Momoshiki believes he is Momoshiki. All right. But I also think that Momoshiki is also just a personified version of Shibai. What that means is that everything Momoshiki experiences is Shibai's experience, right? Meaning it's not actually Momoshiki in charge, it is Shibai in charge, right? So, um, what I think is that um, I think the portal is that was most likely um the communication with the Otsutsuki god, or at least influenced by the Otsutsuki god that we just didn't know, and we couldn't really understand, and we wouldn't have at that moment. But I definitely think that'll be something that'll be talked about and um in the future, right? Now, another ability that I think is an ability that will occur at the end of Boruto. I think a lot of the training that has occurred or will occur with Kashin Koji, I'm still betting on Kashin Koji coming in the picture. And when he does come into the picture, if he hasn't already, he'll teach Boruto, or at least guide Boruto, and in a more sage-like way. And what that means, right? What that means is actually fantastic news, because if you like the Sage of Six Paths and you like what he's did with um he basically took the Ten Tails and created nine souls out of the Ten Tails. That's fucking crazy. So if he can do that, right, with the creation of all things jutsu, right, which was a yin yang based release, then what can Boruto do as an Otsutsuki, right, with the Otsutsuki God's Eye, right? Now, I don't necessarily think that um this eye derived directly from the Otsutsuki God. I think it was a culmination, a manifestation, if you will, that occurred, a phenomenon that occurred within Boruto, right? Through influence of Toneri. So, what specifically did Toneri have? Did he have the eye itself? Did he have a piece of DNA that I would have normally not have not have occurred in Boruto if or been brought out of Boruto had Toneri not have been um um I don't want to say manipulated, but if you had not, I guess so, manipulated Boruto's genetic, if you will, his chakra, if you will. Um, I definitely think that it's more of a manifestation, right? And I think that at the end, what'll happen is something very interesting. It's going to be the negation of all chakra, and if I'm correct, Boruto will use his Jogan, but his Jogan isn't necessary. His Jogan is the pure eye, and what that means in terms of um, Buddhist um, uh, Hindu type belief is anything that can be pure can be unpure, right? With the incorrect influence. So Boruto can be corrupted, right? So it doesn't matter. There's no like ultimate good or ultimate bad. If something is uh, pure, it can be unpure, right? What that means is uh, what's his name? What's his name? Guy with the glasses. I've spoken about him so many times. Um, uh, movie and Naruto. Sorry, guys. No, that's not who I'm looking for. With I, I have his name at the tip of my tongue. Um, what is his name? Oh my gosh. White hair, red. Uh, uh, Kage Masa. I didn't even have to finish looking it up. Kage Masa, right? So I think that this negative influence over Boruto, right, which is Shibai himself, right? I think that his revival is vital. Um, both the Jogan and Momoshiki kind of implanting this karma on him, is vital to Kagemasa's birth, right? So I think it is as it was always meant to be. Boruto is the villain, and he will remain the villain, right? Now he'll have the best intent, and ultimately, even as a villain, he'll serve the ultimate purpose, right? He'll have the um, he'll be able to kind of um, assist in the ultimate plot, right? And I definitely think that the main villain is either going to be rebirthed from Himawari or Boruto, and possibly Code. Those are the three runner-ups: Himawari, Boruto, and possibly Code. Boruto is Kagemasa, and I do think that over time, especially when he goes into karma mode, he'll start to derive some type of genetic or um, aesthetic that'll basically make him look more Otsutsuki like, right? More Kagemasa like, right? Now, I lean toward Kagemasa specifically because of Naruto movie 1, where Naruto's um his main um the princess that in the movie they went to go watch, that was Sarada, Sasuke, and Naruto, the movie they went to go watch. The princess was actually a real princess, right? So just trying to, I think there's some inspiration from that movie. I'm thinking Kagemasa is real, and I've said that for a long time. Kagemasa is Boruto. We've seen some foreshadowing uh, from Boruto when he puts on the shades of Kagemasa, and you know who else put on the shades from Kagemasa? Himawari, right? So I think it's kind of foreshadowed at this point that these are the two blue vortexes, right? That everyone's talking about. Um, yeah, if you guys like the theory, let me know. Um, I think we're onto something, guys. I think we're legit onto something. As far as oh man, hmm, how about that, guys? Cooking so much, I forgot I was hungry. Hmm, who else we got? Who else do we got? Um, so we talked about Mitsuki a little bit. Talked about Sarada and her blue fire, looking for her dragon. Um, did we talk about Anima? Um, I don't know if Sarada will get an anima because I know they all get their own pets and stuff, right? Like Naruto got his toad, Boruto has a snake, and then Sasuke got a bird later on. Um, and so, hmm, I'm thinking that if either of them get like a um, I don't know. I think Mitsuki is he's gonna keep the snakes. It's kind of weird for Boruto to still have a snake, but that might be some way that Boruto kind of connects with Mitsuki when they do interact. Because I think there's going to definitely be some type of pending fight in the Code War, and Boruto is going to um, have to fend off Mitsuki and Kawaki at some point. Sarada's got tabs on Code, and then the rest of the village will fend off the Claw Grimes, right? As far as um, Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Who haven't we talked about? I know who we haven't talked about. Amato. So Amato, I don't actually see him popping up until after the Cold War. After everything is settled, right? That's when I see Amato getting really involved. But I think he's gone for a purpose, for a reason. And many people have forgotten about him. And I think that as far as Amato, I think he's going to definitely be the one um streamlining or watching over Kawaki as he takes his role as Emperor Kawaki. I think that's definitely when Amato will come into the fold, and something that Kawaki's been maybe this was also planned by Amato, Emperor Kawaki. Um, but I definitely think that we might see some more omnipotence happenings, right? We'll see some more happenings, right? So as far as like um I think that the next chance we'll see, I think we'll probably um we'll see something from Kawaki first, right? And I don't think we'll see Boruto's until the end, right? I don't think he'll utilize omnipotence until the very end. And I think that this will come in the form uh of the creation of all things technique. I think he'll be able to kind of control it a little bit more. Not necessarily control it, but know how to, like I said, if he hangs out with Kashin Koji, he'll gain that perspective and knowledge that of a sage, and that insight on how to kind of manipulate nature itself, right? And how to just kind of um we I think people forget, but the Tintels is an accumulation of plethora of chakra, but nature tends to be the deciding factor or deciding factor when trying to be rid of Tintel's nature, right? Now, as far as the Tintels goes, I have said it before. I see I see them at the end. I definitely see Code absorbing these claw grimes after they've gotten adjusted um they've gotten adjusted post Code War, right? Um and they've kind of started to understand and grow some form of consciousness, right? I think we'll start to see to some degree that these claw grimes will probably start to pick up human like features and become more intelligent, right? Um, I can definitely see that we'll see that these claw grimes will try to start speaking, and there's possibly one of them that's more intelligent than the rest, and Code's just incompetent enough to not recognize it, right? I think this specific clone or this specific claw grime is going to be the one to undo, be rid of Code, whether that's to absorb Code, right? Because I think, like I said in the beginning, I definitely think that Code is um, I think he's a talking over here, you're over here. I definitely think that he's um, just a vessel, right? That's there to, of course, further the plot, but how is he able to do that, right? The how, the why, the who is he is important to me as a viewer, right? So I would love to hear that he's an Uzumaki. Want to hear all about the Uzumaki, because because they're the only ones we really haven't known about. The only ones that I really care about personally. I'm sure there's other clans, but the Uzumaki's the only one that was like super OP, and we never heard a damn thing really about them. They were used as Jinchuriki, sure, but why was you Kishina able to teach Minato? Why was she teaching Minato? It's presumed that she was stronger in a lot of ways than Minato. Sure, Minato was more battle ready, I guess, in a sense, but I definitely think that there's something that's being hidden from the Uzumaki, about the Uzumaki. And I definitely think that Boruto may be the one to go back in time. So, as far as his abilities, and I'm glad I went over this because I remember now, his ability is foresight, but I don't think he can control it. I don't think he will ever be able to control it. It is Momoshiki's inherent ability. I think Momoshiki has inherent abilities, and I also think that there are abilities that Boruto has kind of inherited from Momoshiki through the use of karma, but whether he can use those abilities um, in base, right? That is where things become a little bit more challenging, right? So, even Momoshiki cannot completely see the future, right? Now, that's weird too. Leads me to believe that's also Shibai, right? That's the reason why Shibai, because all of these weird things are happening, right? It's because that's not completely Momoshiki, right? All the Shikis are Shibai, right? Now, as far as um Boruto, I don't think he heard anything, right? I think they tried to do like a 1-to-1 with Naruto arriving on the battlefield when Sakura was like Naruto, right? In the Pain War. But I definitely think that there was nothing being heard. I think Boruto saw it, right? He saw it with his foresight, because he can see the future, and I think it's gonna keep happening. Right? I think it's gonna keep happening forever, or at least until he dies, right? Um, and I think that he's not gonna be able to control it. It's just gonna happen, and it may happen um a little bit, and some of it may be kind of like blurry. Like a lot of it will probably be blurry. Like there was an event in part one that didn't necessarily happen, um, from what I remember. But I definitely think that um, aside, right, it'll that will most likely be Boruto's thing. I think this is a one of these specific Boruto things that occurs with Boruto through Otsuification, right? I think you'll see yokai be haunted by yokai throughout the night, right? I think Momoshiki will try to take over his body at certain points in times, but I think it'll be during the times when it's most pivotal, which is weird to me. It's still weird to me that if Sasuke is alive, how is he not hurt, killed, or wounded? Sorry, um, hurt and wounded, same thing. But how is he not wounded or killed, um, during the time skip? Right, that 3 years. How did Momoshiki not come out one time and say, "Hey, no, like you're gonna die"? Um, you're trying to figure me out. No, you're gonna die. Because you're a hindrance, right? That just makes sense to me as an Otsutsuki, right? Now, as far as um Shikamaru, I think he'll serve the purpose that he was intended to serve. I think I spoke about either him or Konohamaru being Hokage. Either serve the same purpose. But I think Shikamaru serves a more specific purpose. To what purpose do they serve? Um, do they each serve as potential Hokage? Say if we didn't already know that Shikamaru was Hokage, I would say that. They both serve as people that are willing to stand back and let the typical functions of uh, the will of fire take precedence, right? Um, the normal functions of the leaf just go about, not really do anything innovative for the leaf or try to change anything too drastically, right? They'll both do that, right? Um, but I think when it pertains to Shikamaru, there was some resistance when he first interacted with Ada. And he was one of the first ones to interact with Ada. So, being that he was one of the first ones to interact with Ada, I think that it's interesting that they made him Hokage, specifically because he actually came out of it before omnipotence happened, which means knowing, sorry, mm, knowing Shikamaru, what he may have did is put a plan aside um, before, because we know when omnipotence took place, it was not as bad, and people even Sasuke could still kind of resist, or not necessarily resist, but they were aware that something weird was happening. But as the years went by, that was more difficult to perceive. I definitely think that before the years went by and omnipotence first happened, Shikamaru set aside a plan, and this plan was um, to if certain events occur in the future, this is how he could also be on the winning side, right? This is how he could confirm and be sure that he was on the winning side. Now, I think that he definitely. I'm betting on Shikamaru putting on a plan. Do I think that this will change his character and his role and his ability to say no and actually listen to Sarada? No, I don't think that. I do think that um, there'll come a time to where Shikamaru is needed most, and that Shikamaru will or he'll be needed most. Not necessarily relied on, but he'll be needed most, and it'll be during a time when we least expect it, right? Whether that's to because again, there are two Kagemasas. One, there is Boruto, of course, and the other vortex is Himawari. So we have one in the village, one outside of the village. Boruto will leave the village after this Code War happens. Um, but most likely, what'll probably happen is there'll be a fight between um, Kawaki and Boruto, and Boruto will be almost either Himawari will pop up like, "Why are you doing this?" and Boruto will leave, because at this point I've said before that Kawaki was possibly stronger. Whether that's true or not, I think they're still pretty relative, right? Meaning it'll be difficult for one another to kill each other, right, on an equal playing field. Um, Now, I definitely think that Himawari will add to that factor and will make it more difficult um, to kill Kawaki, for Boruto to kill Kawaki, right? Or to at least figure out how to get, because you guys gotta realize Boruto not only has to um, reverse the effects of find out how to reverse the effects of omnipotence, not gonna happen until the end. He has to figure out how to get his parents, not gonna happen until the end, right? And then, right, he has to get rid of Momoshiki, not gonna happen until the end, right? And I do think that Boruto will sacrifice himself in the end, whether that's to ascend or to take over Code's body. I'm feeling like Code's body is either for Boruto or it's for Ishiki's return, or at least Shibai's return, right? But I definitely think that this influence, um, I don't think there's let me be clear. I don't think there's just one set of Otsutsuki's being the Ishikis, right? I definitely think that there's, of course, certain Otsutsuki's, primary Otsutsuki's, right? Um, I'm thinking there may be like two, maybe three more, right? Um, do I think they're important in the grand scheme of things? Not necessarily. Do I think they're vital for the overall picture? Yes. Um, and I think some of these Otsutsuki's will come in the form of other personas of a primary Otsutsuki, similar to what I believe Shibai is, right? Um, or the Ishikis are personas of Shibai. Now, as far as Boruto's, going back to Boruto's abilities, and then we'll kind of double back. We'll go to Sarada, then we'll go to Mitsuki, and we'll go to um, the next, right? So Boruto, right? I'm hoping he doesn't have flight. I'm hoping he doesn't have flight. Does he have the ability to travel through portals? Sure. Does he have the ability to uh, use his Jogan? I'm assuming that he's gained a pretty decent amount on his own. I think the Jogan is one of those things that he can manipulate, that he's figured out how to manipulate on his own. Why? Because that is his eye, right? That isn't Shibai's eye. That's his eye, which is why, um, currently, right? I think he's with this eye and the knowledge that he'll gain. That'll be the deciding factor at the end. But um, I think that the eye will, of course, it has the, I think the ability to, um, so I think even with the, I think whenever Boruto sees the future, that'll more so be the, um, it may be the Jogan now, because I'm trying to figure out whether or not if Boruto or Momoshiki took Sasuke's eye, his Rinnegan, and popped it in there, and that's how we get the current Jogan, then sure, then he may have some other abilities that we'd have to include. But this is going off of the idea that um, Boruto manifested the eye on his own through his own genetics, right? Whether you get rid of it or not, whether there's a yang, there's a yin. So he's probably, the eye probably isn't physically there until he starts to accumulate chakra in there and manifest it on his own, right? How's he able to do that? With the understanding of Momoshiki, right? Um, that Momoshiki has, right? Now, as far as I wouldn't even question how Momoshiki would know that. Momoshiki knows a lot of things that we don't know, right? Now, as far as so he could see the future a little bit, but not clearly. He could possibly fly, but we know he can fly. Or he could possibly fly in base, but I mean, we don't know if he could fly for sure. I definitely think that as far as um, omnipotence goes, I think he just has the power to negate things. That's the most that I've came up with for Boruto. I don't think he'll get any kind of Susanoo, so cut that out, right? I think he'll be able to utilize the certain jutsu. Um, I think it may also have the ability to kind of um, so certain things that aren't Kekkei Genkai, he may be able to make them Kekkei Genkai, right? So if he's kind of weak in some areas, he can kind of increase the efficiency of certain advanced jutsu, right? Like lava release, um, flying release. Right, flying's not. That's wind nature. Sorry. Um, Storm, Ice. What else is there? Particle, right? Do I think Boruto will use Particle? I would love to see Boruto using Particle. I think that would be OP for Boruto, especially being as fast as he is. Um, and there was a specific monster that, or I guess like tail beast type of thing that I think may have appeared in an opening. I want to see the opening one or two. It was an ice monster. I think that may be Boruto's inner um like or his inner anima, right? So most people they get a certain anima, like they'll get toads or something. I think that there'll definitely be more anima in Boruto Two Vortex that we'll see um in Two Vortex, right? The name is still kind of I'm still trying to get adjusted to the name. Um, Sounds like a lot. And I feel a little silly calling it TBV, but it doesn't really flow out the tongue that easily. But I think I may understand that. These two blue vortex, it's definitely Himawari and Boruto. But yeah, that was um abilities with me. As far as I don't think Kawaki. I'm sure he's got some nice abilities. Code. I think I've said before. I definitely think that he's going to use the claw grimes as more of like accessories and not so much. Not so much. How do you say? Just like an army. He's going to use them like Pain used his clones, right? Or his because they were clones. His army, right? He's going to use them as accessories. Whatever they see, he sees, and vice versa, right? And he's gonna be able to like kind of move through them and kind of go through the wall. And I think that they definitely probably got some destructive power. So if multiple of them come together and they try to form some like Biju or something, they're gonna destroy some shit, right? And that's why I said like there are thousands of these things. Right, so there's thousands of these things. And then most likely what's going to occur is Code is going to have these claw grimes not only attack the leaf at this current moment in the manga, he's also going to um, send them other villages as well. And then if other villages are also going on the defense, um, whether Code leaves early or not, I think he was there to just kind of wreak havoc. Like, why is Code there? I don't think Code thinks he can win, especially against everyone else. So why is Code there? I think Code is trying to um, assess certain things, and he's more so there to just kind of gauge like what's going on um, with Boruto. Talk to Boruto. I think there'll be a lot of dialogue. I'm betting on the dialogue just a little bit because other than that, I don't really see a reason why Code would be there other than for plot purposes. Um, but this also would fit and tie into Emperor Kawaki as well, which is what I predicted chapters ago, right? That code there would be a code war. There'd be Emperor Kawaki. There would be the Age of Shinobi is over. A new revolution that Kawaki would set um, precedence for the Shinobi world as the leader of the Shinobi world, right? So I don't know. You guys tell me what you guys think. If you guys like the video, let me know. And yeah, maybe we could talk some more theories. But I tell you, that's all I have. If you guys like the video, like the video. And you know, I really hope they will see some new. We may even see like black lightning, like or more like a yin lightning with Sarada. Um, but I think we'll definitely see some type of some counters, direct counters for Ada, at least in like a temporary, um, area oriented type of manner. Right. So if you guys, hey, you're not following us on all social platforms and subscribed, I don't know what you're doing because we give you the best theories here. You're not gonna find them anywhere else. Hmm. That's some good coffee. It's all cold. But yeah, I'm your host, Zone Fanfic, and I'll see you next time, travelers. Peace.